Well,
Yeah. Muting myself. All good thoughts. Thanks, Dave.
thanks,
Yeah.
Dave.
Yep.
And okay. Well, good evening, everybody. It's 8:02 already. Wow, we're starting a little late. This is the Sunday night webinar. And I guess we're doing it anonymously again, so we'll have to tell you I, I goofed up and forgot the name.
Secret Santas.
I'm sorry?
We're the Secret Santas.
Secret Santas. Okay, well, anyhow, I'm Gene Colbago.
And I'm Secret Santa Roger Carroll.
There we go, and we'll go in and clean that up off the video and change the names correctly. Anyhow, we're glad you're here. It's December 9th already. Wow, things are flying. This is Web 112. Next week will be our final webinar of the year. I just realized that. Wow, things are going so quickly. But anyhow, we're glad you're here. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough. I'm going to try not to cough into the microphone. So if I mute myself every now and then, it's because I'm coughing. But anyhow, let's get started. One thing I wanted, we were talking before the show has just begun now, regarding Friday, the hour of coding. And if you were involved in it, thank you. And if you weren't involved in it, it was a really great experience where over the period of 3 webinars, I believe, what did you say, about 80 classes, Raj?
I got a final count to make, but I think we're pushing someone like 75 to 80 elementary classrooms.
Yeah, got together
from kindergarten to grade 6. Yeah.
Online, and Ronnie McGrath did a great presentation, introduced coding to the elementary grades, and got them to a place where they could do some beginning coding and learn a little bit of coding. The hour of coding is a national thing now, is it not, Raj?
Yes, yeah. It was a week, national week of coding. And then Friday was the hour of code.
Yeah, and I just is for some reason this week as I was going through past the Google search, there was at the bottom this particular link. HTTPS, the santatracker.google.com, if you type that in, for your lower classes, and it has a number of activities, games, things you can do on the computer. Really, some really great stuff, and several of them are actually extensions of Friday's coding. If you were a part of the Friday coding, you might want to take a look there because there's some coding, associated with the season, okay? And I will tell you this, if you go to that page and you pick on one of the codings and whatever, it might be a little confusing. Go to the bottom. The lesson plans are there, and they'll explain how to use and teach how to use the various programs that are on there. And also, if you want just some other games, there's another santatracker.google.com for educators/educators.html, and I don't think I have it here. Oh yeah, if you notice the red bar here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right here with those 3 little lines, if you click on that, it will allow you to get to the other things and to the directions, the teacher pages, and so forth and so on. But if you're looking for something that is actually very well done and going along with the season because the kids are in the mood, you might want to try that. Okay? All right. And with that, I'm going to try to end the show and minimize that. I got a couple of requests about a month ago, which seems like I have forgotten about. So I'd like to take, if I may, a few minutes to review something we did probably about a year ago. And it actually might not be a bad idea now, because last week got ready to send out the cards for the year. And being a horrible writer and also a lazy person, I wanted to create labels and so forth and so on. So I used, of course, Office 365, the mail merge. And we had over, I think over the last month or so, I had a couple of people who had said, hey, can you go over that again? So what I'd like to do is just take a few minutes, because it's incredibly easy. And if you've never used a mail merge, it is really, really useful. Okay? Anyhow, to start a mail merge, first of all, one thing I use, you need a database or a base of information. And basically, I use Excel. And I just put the information. Now here I just created one to show you real quickly. Student first name, student last name. There's a title, parent name, parent last name, address, city, state, zip. And this I was doing, maybe we can do a little, hey, there's going to be parent-teacher conferences, and you want to send out a letter to each person telling them when the conference is. And this will make it very, very simple. Okay? So I just wanted to show you the first thing you might want to do is create a little Excel file with the information. Please put titles at the top of every column, because that helps a great deal when it comes to the mail merge. Okay? And now, having done that, I'm not going to do anything here. When you start Office and go to, I'm just going to, you know what, if I may, I apologize. To save a little time, wrote a little blank letter here that has information about the parent-teacher conference. Okay, I put the name of the school. I left a little space here for the address, of course. And you can see the other information, the name of the student and so forth and so on. Now all I have to do is fill it in, and I don't want to write all that stuff in, so I am going to use the mail merge to do it. Basically, to do a mail merge, you go across the tabs up here to mailing. And the third one in is usually start mail merge. Click on that, and whatever you do, the easiest, I've never tried any other, is, excuse me, I have to move something around here on my computer, step by step, because it's a wizard. It really is. It's a wizard, Harry. Anyhow, over here on the right, a column opens up that will guide you through the mail merge. First of all, what kind of document are you going to do? We can show you, you can do letters, you can do your envelopes, that's how I did mine. You can do all kinds of things. I'm going to do letters right now because I have a letter. And down below it says step 1, starting the document. I click on that. I click on that. Do you want to use the current document? Well, of course I do. Yes. So now, that was step 2. I want to select the recipients. Okay, now a window will open up where I can now go to find, and it's on my desktop because that's where I wanted it, a file that has the names for the mail merge, I called it. Okay, so I select that, open it. Now, in case you don't know, Excel generally has several sheets. Usually we're working on sheet 1, so I'm just going to hit OK here. It'll show me the information. I can, if I want, eliminate any of that if I want to, but I don't want to, so I'm going to just hit OK. So now I've selected the list that I want to use of data. So I'm ready to go to the next step. It says write your letter. Okay, oops, I went too far. I got to go back one. I apologize. I clicked twice. Now I have to put in the items. Okay, for example, here I want to address it. So I can just go down. I find the easiest way is to go down to more items, because then it will give me those titles. Remember I said when you do the Excel file to put the titles across the top? Okay, what I want to do is I want to put, maybe I want to add the person's title. I want to add, I'm going to do this all at once and I'll show you why in a minute. Person's name and the parent last name. Now, if I didn't do that all at once, I would have to put one thing in, close it, leave a space, open that up again, pick another one, close. So I put them all. We can space it at the end. Okay? In fact, I'm going to need the address. I'm going to need the city. I'm going to need the state. This is just my lazy way of doing it. And I'm going to need the zip. Okay. And now I can close that because I've got all the information. I have the title now. I want to put a space after the title. So I go put my mouse or the cursor in between, hit a space. Okay, and now another space, last name. Now that takes care of the parent. I'm going to hit the enter. There's the address. Now I want this on the next page, city. Oh, I want a comma there, then a space. Zip, I don't know. How many spaces are we supposed to put there, Raj? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so now I've set that up. Now I want to put in down here, very quickly, just real quickly, the parent title and name. Whoops, title. I forgot to add it. Insert, parent name, insert. I'll close that. I will, and again, I may have to go back. You can always go back and edit these things. That's what's nice. Now, I don't know if this is, we'll make it a friendly letter. We'll put a comma there. Thanks for requesting a conference for. Well, we want the student's name. We'll just put the first name, okay? All right, close, and it will be held at. Now, we just have to add in here the appointment time. Insert that. We might want to close that and put a period after it. Now, that's our letter. Now we want to preview our letters. We'll hit that. Notice it has already started filling them in for me. Here we go. See? I didn't put the last name there. Okay. Now I realize, see, I didn't put the last name. I just put the first name. I can go back to write my letter, go up here, more items, because I goofed, put in the last name, insert, make sure there's a space there. Oh, close this, and make sure there's a space there. Okay, and now preview my letter. Now we're looking better, aren't we not? See? Saves a lot of time. Saves a lot of time, especially like if you're going to do it for your class. You can create a class list, an Excel class list, and you can use it for a number of different things. Okay? So that's pretty simple how to do that. If you want, let me just kill this file. I'm not going to save this. If you want to do labels, they're just as easy. Come on. Well, okay, I clicked on the wrong stupid thing, you idiot. I'm sorry. Okay. I want to get a blank sheet here for labels, and they're easy to do. Just go again to mailing, select Start Mail Merge, step by step. Only this time we're going to select labels. That's the key. Starting document. Okay, label options. We can go here. First, we will go here. It takes a few seconds. This is the label options, and it will provide you with, oh my goodness, it will give you, first of all, sizes of labels, but you can go into label vendors, and most often if you go to the stores, the business stores, you're going to get Avery labels, and this is a very common one, the 5661 label. Okay, so I just selected that. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to select my recipients. I'm going to, again, just like I did before, browse and pick up that data file that I had the stuff in before. Okay, names for mail merge. Very quickly, click on this, and that, again, that sheet 1, I'm going to see the same thing I saw before, hit OK. Notice now, this looks a little weird. This is record, next record, next record, next. What do I do with this? Okay, this is arrange your labels. Now let's see if I do this here. Okay, now we get to the more items, and notice how my cursor is here. This is how you do it. You go here, I'm just going to put this to the parent title. Hang on, I have that little window in the way. Insert. Insert. Oh, I put it twice. Okay, that's okay. Parent name, parent last name. Again, I'm just going to do that real quickly because I don't want to take too much time, and I'm going to close that. But then, on the next line, I would put the address and so forth. I'm going to go up here and erase. I can erase that, I think. There we go. All right. Now, under here, I would put the address and the city, state, and zip by going to more items, address. Okay. All right. I'm just going to close this now. But now, the key here in doing labels is that, see this little thing here? It says update all labels. Click on that. Okay. And it will put the same thing in every label. Preview your labels, and there they are. I didn't put city, state, and zip, but there's all my labels. And I could print them out and just be ready to send them out. Saves a lot of time. And again, mail merge is a great way of doing that. I haven't shown you this yet, and Raj, I'm just hurrying along so I can give you some time. But what you can do, in fact, is if you go to Word, and we've talked about the templates, for education and so forth and so on. There are many, certificates and things that you can download. And if you have a list of your students, you can go into the place there, add a mail merge, and just put the kids' names in there. And you can print out all of those certificates in a very, very short time, and it saves going in there and typing one after the other after the other. Okay? So again, for those of you who knew that, I'm sorry. For those of you who didn't know that, I hope it's a little bit of a help. It's a really good tool in Word, and I hope that if you can use it, if you need any help, let us know, and we'd be very glad to help. Raj, I have a lot more, but I think maybe this might be a good time to let you do your thing, and then if you have whatever time you have at the end, I can take over. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay, because I don't want to overdo it here. Sharing, change presenter. I don't know if he needs changed. Okay, there you go, sir.
Okay. We got lots going on here. Let me go back to the screen. You're going to come to this screen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's try.
Yes.
Well, just to dovetail a little bit on mail merge and stuff, as Gene suggested, maybe early on, maybe even before you open your classroom, as soon as you get a class list in September, throw your students' names into a quick Excel file, as Gene said, and title the top of it, and then start print out labels for your students.
Sure.
Like little name tags and things, and you can put them on folders and things on their desks even. It makes it real quick and handy, and you can get those mail labels just about anywhere. And when you go in to do this, and you can touch base with us. Where you put it asks for that label number. Of Avery, like Gene said, is a very popular one. They give you on the package that you buy any one you want and match it up in that
almost
in the program there for your printer, and you can throw the labels in your laser printer at school and print a bunch of labels off and use them throughout the year or reprint them for whatever. And in addition to like these little letters home that you can send and so on. So it's a very useful tool for that. Okay, going back a week, Gene was acquainting us more with some of the features within web browser Edge, Microsoft Edge, and one of them had to do with the clutter-free printing option. And the same option is available. I have to move something here too, Gene. I gotta move that.
That thing gets in the way, doesn't it? Yeah, our little control panel.
Yeah. Get out of it here. If I go to, and I can't, where are you? I don't want to end that because it's going to end the webinar.
We can see that you're above the ellipse right now for your
what I got to do is
that's going to close the whole. Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to see. Can you still see my screen?
I can see the history of Christmas, and now we can see. Yes, now we can see your ellipse.
Okay.
Yes.
The webinar dashboard was in the way of that corner of my browser, and I just couldn't still can't see the ellipse. I had to erase it across the screen. But in that routine that Gene was showing us last week with Edge, very useful. I'm behind converting full on to Microsoft Edge from my Chrome browser. And I guess I'm a reluctant new adapter. I've got so much invested in Chrome, and that was a switch from whatever I was using before even. But we've talked about extensions and add-ons and things for Chrome through a number of webinars. But there is a nice little tool, add-in, extension, whatever you want to call it, that is very similar to what Gene was showing in Edge. I'm going to go back and show you what this page looks like through Edge, as well as what we're looking at right now is Chrome. And it's called the Mercury Reader. And it's an add-in, and it looks like a little rocket ship. And here are some of my other add-ins or extensions. But the Mercury Reader is one I haven't used in a while, and Gene triggered last week that this is available. And if I click on it, notice here we are on this web page. This is the result of a Google search, and actually I must say it didn't come from my idea. The other day I was watching one of my granddaughters, and her mother said to her, "When I pick you up, I want to know about the history of the Christmas tree." So Elizabeth, I said, let's find out. So so I was asking her, how can we find out, yada, yada, yada. And of course she says, well, let's Google it and see what happens. And so I Googled roughly the terms history of the Christmas tree, and it came up with, as Google does, probably 100,000 hits on it as well. So I grabbed it. I went through, looked at a couple of them. This one looked like, it was interesting on the screen because it helped me demonstrate what's going on here with this clutter. If you want all of this stuff, well, you don't if you're going to print it out, and that's where this is coming from. But this nice little add-in here or extension called the Mercury Reader will then take that web page and get all of that clutter off the entire page, so that now I can deal with it, without all of the crazy distractions. Okay, so this can be printed out very easily. You just over here I would print it and pick the printer, whichever one I'm working on, and print it without clutter there. What I want to do is take this just a little step further in the print routine here. Notice it's asking me what printer I want to use. Well, maybe you don't do this often in school, but you can. I do it at home all the time. And there are a couple of options that I think you might find interesting and worth trying. I want to change my printer option. Notice it's not just a printer option, but I can print to a PDF. I would save that whole page to print it to a PDF. I can obviously change printers, but here's a nice little feature here. Send to OneNote 2016. That's the desktop. When you start seeing the year indicator here, that's the installed version of your program. It could be Word. An example would be Word 2016, and so on. But I said, let's send it to OneNote 2016. So it will pick. I'll do that, and you'll see what's going on. I've already done it a couple times just to try this out. But I'm going to send it to 2016. So it brings it back. Here it reminds me where I am, in quotation marks, printing this. Now I'm going to say, go ahead and print it. Then down here somewhere, notice, if you did notice, all of a sudden my OneNote 2016 taskbar item initiated. So that's there. Okay, now it brings it up with a sub choice to make. All right, I'm going to print it in my OneNote 216. Roger. Where in your OneNote 216 do you want to put it? Oh, right. I've got all of these pages. Just a little overdone here. But I wanted to put this, because I had a ulterior motive for doing this, I want to put it into my passage for use with the Immersive Reader. And notice the little plus here? Okay, what page in your Immersive Reader folder or section do you want to put it? And I have already done this, so I labeled those a printout from Chrome and a printout from Edge. You can do this same routine from the Edge browser. So I picked the printout from Chrome. I would click it there and say go ahead, and it would then send that passage from the web page that I did for the Google search into my OneNote. I'm going to cancel that because I've already done it several times today. And if you recall in our discussion and understanding of what's going on in Office 365, we have two versions of all of our Microsoft programs. We have the installed version, Word 2016, OneNote 2016. We also have those same programs within Office 365 in the cloud. I have my OneNote cloud version, my installed version. What we're looking at now is the installed version. If I go to the cloud version, my point in saying this is they are in sync with one another. Even though you're sending it to your 2016, the client or installed version of OneNote, it's going to show up in your online version as well. So we're going to go into that OneNote. I'm going down to my passages for the Immersive Reader, and I'm going to come down to that page. I say I'm going to do it, but now I can't find it. I'm going to reopen that. I think I'm trying to go down further, and I just I don't know if you can see. I'm going to go back into this, and if I go over here, this is the printout from Chrome. This is the one I sent to my Chrome, and it's in. Maybe it hasn't synced up yet. That might be a problem with it. But here we are here looking at that same passage that I took from my Chrome browser using the Mercury Reader. I haven't done this. I don't know if this is new. I haven't done it. I confess I haven't used my Kindle in a while. I thought that might be nice, but it's not something I was thinking of in terms of you showing it in a classroom, because we're not working with Kindles. So I'm trying to get back to turn the Mercury Reader off. And where are we? Yeah, let's turn it off. And it's just a little on-off switch in your browser under that ellipse. So that took that same article and, again, stripped it of all the eye clutter. Mm-hmm. If we look at the same article in the Edge browser, there's that same article there. And we went through all this same routine. Again, I use the Bing search engine to get to this. Now, if I just right-click on the page, I go to Print, and this is what Gene was showing us last week, the clutter-free printing. I'll turn that on. So that scrubbed it even more. It got rid of even that image of the Christmas tree right here. But if I want to, again, here now, pick the printer, send to OneNote 16. That option pops up as well as my choice of actual printers, and I can print it to an actual PDF. If I print this to a PDF, well, I'll try it. You'll see what happens. Now I print that. You'll recognize the PDF form. It wants to know, where do you want to save. I'm going to just call this a demo page, and I'm going to put it on my desktop so we can see. Where are you? Desktop.
There it is, up at the top.
Right here. And let's minimize everything. Go all the way down to my demo
There's
page.
Your page.
And there's the universal symbol that this is now a PDF, which you then can upload, manage, use your various tools. Because where I was headed with all of this, of course, was going into the Immersive Reader, where we're seeing lots and lots of play. Let's see which one. Yeah. Here we are. I'll use the one from Chrome, and here's the one from Edge that finally showed up. But now we go into the Immersive Reader for that same path, not available when offline. How clever.
Why are you offline?
That's a good question. Because I'm not offline. Let me go back
Raj,
to.
Where are you? No.
Yeah. Let's look at it. Let's look at it here then. Oh, it's in the Learning Tools, the Immersive Reader. And now there we are with our Learning Tools. I'm going to change the background here so you might recognize it. As you recall, the Immersive Reader strips even more away from the page that you brought up. But here is a way for all of those kids in your classroom with a simple headset can then have and work with any of these passages. And again, with the Immersive Reader, we can change the font size. We can say, let's break it up into syllables. We can have it read. We can change the voice and so on. This is, I think, a little of the less enhanced version of the Immersive Reader compared to what we've been looking at. But this one, again, you can't hear it, but it will read in either Microsoft David, or I can say Microsoft Zira, a male or a female voice will read the passage. And we can enhance the text and with the font, break everything down. They are broken into syllables, change the spacing. and do all of the things that we've shown you over the weeks in the last year on how the immersive reader could help students make sense out of a passage using all of these different tools. But this was a long run. This is actually going to, I got to get rid of that. Well, there's some passages I'd been sending to myself. The novel I'm reading, I found a couple of nice passages, and I demonstrated that in past using the app on my phone called the Office Lens. I took a picture of the page, and I wanted to say for later, maybe for older kids, I used to do a thing in my classes when we were doing some heavy reading and say, let's find some decent sentences. And one of their tasks on a reading assignment would be, as they're doing the reading X number of pages for homework, etc., find me some examples of a decent sentence. So I would bring that into the 21st century, because that was back in the 20th century when I did that. Here's a quick way to find it using that tool, the Immersive Reader, and you could bring it in and then do some things with it, with the text and so on. And what we often did was a sharing of the passages, and students would have to defend their selection of this for a decent sentence or a passage that was especially well written, maybe showing some figures of speech and so on. But this is a long way from where we started, Gene, with
yes,
using the Chrome browser, using the Mercury Reader, which is a free add-in. Again, I'm probably going to take a couple of weeks when we're on break, so to speak, and take a closer look at Edge and see, do I really want to make that leap? I've got all my my shortcuts right here. I can immediately go into my 365 and so on. The next thing I was playing with was in Office 365 was, okay, I brought that passage and I brought that stuff into my OneNote. As a teacher or an instructor, I have my own resources. We talked about our PLNs and whatnot. For my network where I collect all my resources, I use my OneNote. I think that's the one that's going to pop up here. I want to close that and bring up the one that I'm most familiar with is my OneNote. And now it's doing just a little bit of a sync. Here we are, learning all of that stuff. Let's see if it made it here yet.
Yeah, it does take time, son. We've noticed that.
Well, I've done it, and when I do the Clipper, another nice little tool in both Edge and Chrome is the OneNote Clipper.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if it's there yet. See how that's syncing up there. Different passages. Yeah, here's a now there it is. There's the one from Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
It's there, and then I was using the view here. Go into the Immersive Reader, which is a slightly different view than what we were looking at just a minute ago, and we can do some enhancement here. You do line focus, turn on all these parts of speech now. I can turn on the nouns, like as they show me the labels. That would probably be useful if you were looking at nouns and verbs. And notice now you can choose a different color. I found that depending on the background you use, some of those colors show up better if you want to highlight them. Turn on the picture dictionary. That works here if for certain nouns. Not all nouns here, and then of course they can all be pronounced there as well. But that's bringing it right into my notebook. But I wanted to take it a step further and share that out to my students in my teams. And this is where it got just a little bit sloppy. I ended up inserting links to the page or taking that whole page and uploading it as a file once I had it. But all of this is intertwined in such a way that here's that Christmas tree article, our Sunday night PLN, tonight's webinar, and I put the link here. I did it as a link there, but what this does is take me right out to the link on the internet, coming kind of full circle, I guess you'd say. So I want to get out of that. So, gee, that's a lot for a couple of minutes here. I'm just looking over some notes, like from last week, and to talk about some of that stuff. And we did quite a bit, but I don't want to overdo it. I just think what we need to do is in the classroom is for teachers, get yourself into OneNote. Think about teaming your class, which is they make it very simple now. A number of teachers, I know Dave has done it. We'll be working more with the teams there, and just start using the tools from 365. The one I would highly recommend you start with first is using your OneNote, and start building your resources here. And you can do it in a number of ways. Then start building a team, using it with your classroom, and just biting off small chunks of things and sharing things out that way. And then before you know it, you're going to be up to speed on all of these tools that we've been talking about for quite a while. Well, Gene and I did a webinar midweek. It was lightly attended, I'll put it mildly. And we talked about forms, Microsoft Forms, and using the Sway app from Office 365. And I think together, certainly OneNote, and then Sway and Forms, and using that within teams with your classes, you would find yourself well immersed in Office 365, and before long take a leap. It is possible to do all this with your classes and dramatically cut down on the paper that you have to manage in your classroom. You can push things out, and all your kids can have the work in front of them on a screen, and eliminate a whole lot of copy work and so on. So, Gene, I want to, unless you have any comment or a place we want to go, or anybody had any questions about any of this.
Okay. I might want to add that, if some of you would like to get started, say you haven't used OneNote or Teams or whatever, and you're saying, gee, Rod, you showed us some good stuff, but boy, I need some more help with that. Let us know. We can either arrange to have study groups. We can arrange, webinars, whatever. We come into your, visit your classroom, help you out, whatever you need to get you started on this. So, we're not just going to show you this on a webinar and say, okay, now you're on your own. If you need help, let us know.
Yeah. On the other hand, you can't break it.
No, that's true too. You can play with it, but if you don't get frustrated, is what we're saying. Yeah. I think don't come to a point where you say, I can't do this.
The nicest thing, when you're in the Office 365 realm, everything is automatically saved.
Yeah.
It might be document 1, document 2, document 3, etc. Mm-hmm. But it's all saved. It's all there. Yeah. It's all searchable and findable. And we'll be talking about more of that. Probably in the new year. So, Gene, I'm going to throw it back in your direction.
Okay, I'm in a quandary right now. You know what those are, don't you? Oh, yeah, I'm going to try to get out because I've got something I wanted to go over. Boy, the only problem is it's going to take a little longer than the 14 minutes we have. So maybe I'm going to put that off to next week. Go over a few little hints for Word that you may not have known about, okay? Just real quick, things that, most of us do use Word. That didn't work, did it? Why didn't that open? That's not what I wanted. Excuse me 1 second. As Roger said, we have to move things around so we can get to it. Let me start it again because I wanted to open this document. Why is it not opening that document? All right, File. Open. Huh. That's weird. Maybe I saved it as a blank document. That's pretty stupid, Gene. Okay. And that messes me up. Well, let me show you something that we'll have to go along with till we can get to that. Do you see this little word here called clipboard? Many of us have used clipboard. We do a lot of cutting and pasting. But actually, clipboard works in a couple of different ways that you may or may not know about. And it actually works a lot better than you may or may not know about. Let me just do this. Let me go to here. Say, as we're going to do next week, you've been requested to do a research paper on the American Civil War, okay? And you're saying, geez, I need some images. Generally what we do here is we go in here, we go, I am not going to deal with American Civil War. Okay, we'll just do a search, and we come back with a whole bunch of stuff. And as you know, we can go to images here. Right now, I'm not going to deal with the Creative Commons and so forth and so on. We will deal with that, but not right now. We're trying to teach our students to only use images that are clear. But usually what we do is if we have a Word document, I just noticed there was something there that I need. We would go and, I want this picture. We would go here, Control, Copy Image, and then we go to the place and then we paste it, right? And then we go back here. We want another image. I've got stuff all over my screen, so you're going to have to bear with me a second, please. And pick another image, copy it, and paste it, and so forth and so on. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. If you go here, copy image, here, copy image, here, copy image. Now, if I go to my Word, I'm going to, let me make this big here now. Go down here, beyond this next one. I'm going to go down here. Notice up here we have a little word called clipboard. If you notice the little arrow here, here are all the items I've copied. You can copy more than one at a time. And now this one says, preview not available, but there they are. Saves you a little bit of time. That's all I'm trying to say. And they will stay there too. Okay? Usually we work with the last one we put in. That's why we think there's only one on the clipboard. But I think you can save, what is it, up to 18 on the clipboard, Raj, I think? I'm not sure. Anyhow, so just a little hint there that that might be of use to you, that you can use, and might turn useful. And if you get done with all of those, you can paste them all at once if you want. Wow. Or you can clear them all out of your clipboard if you like. But if you have not used that clipboard, next time you're copying and pasting, go in there and look and see if those things are still there, because most likely they are, and you can use them more than once. Now notice the reason why I noticed something before. Okay, this is what I was looking for a long time ago. Maybe that's why I was getting the blank screen, because it was already there. This is just a little page from Alice in Wonderland. And if you have a story that you've printed out or you have on Word that you want to use with your students, have you had trouble, like you will, hey kids, I want you to go down to the 3rd paragraph, 2nd line. Do you see the word center of the earth? Wow, that can get kind of difficult, can't it? Why not do this before you print it out? Go across here, go over to layout. And in layout, if you go down here, there's a thing called line numbers. Click on line numbers, continuous, boom, line numbers. This could prove useful, if you're having little art documents that you'd like to give to the kids to read. You can go, hey kids, go to line number 18. Okay, there it is. Okay, just a little hint for Word. Also, if you're going to put this on the board, I know Raj has mentioned, and again, I do recommend that we use the immersive reader, but if you just want to sometime, you can go, I think it's, oh boy, now I'm talking to myself here, because I've, got to find it, because I goofed up. I'm talking too fast, and yeah, you can go to Design, and over on the right, if you want, and I don't recommend this if you're going to print out. Okay, if you click on Page Color, you can select like a different color. Yeah, Immersive Reader has different colors too, but if you want to just do it that way. And again, I'm not sure if you went to the Immersive Reader, if it would show up. I don't think it shows up in that color, does it, Raj?
I'm not sure. Try it.
Yeah. Now we'll go to, it's in View, I think, in this. I'm trying to remember in mine, yeah. Learning Tools, Immersive Reader, no. See?
Learning Tools, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I have it set up for a different thing. But, and, just as a, if you're just showing something on the board and you want to show it a little more clearly or whatever, sometimes with a little bit of a background, it's a little bit easier to see that way. So you might want to try that, okay? Again, those were a couple of the things that I wanted to show you. Let me just go over my things here. Oh, and again, this is just wow. This is, I'm trying to remember now where things are. Okay, but some people, even after using the Word for so long, let me just not get rid of this and get rid of this also, have gotten a little upset. I remember this happened, Roger, I think it was way back in 2007 when they first came out with the ribbon. Okay, what they did was, we were used to Times New Roman up here. And I don't know about you, but some people, probably even now, I forget what you get now. Something 11 instead of Times.
I think it's Old Romans.
Yeah, it's roaming around the page.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyhow, you'll notice mine says Times New Roman 12. Maybe yours doesn't. What you can do is click on this, go in here and select Times New Roman, regular, 12, and down in the lower left-hand corner it says Set as Default, okay, for all documents. And you hit OK. And now every time you open up a new Word document, you're going to get Times New Roman 12. Okay? Lastly, last thing, oh golly, I'm running out of clues here. So, most of the time when you start to type, you start here. But did you know if you go over here and double click, you can start typing here? Or if you want to type down here, double click down here, You can click anywhere, type anywhere you want on the page just by double-clicking. Double-click somewhere, and you can type on a page. This works very well if you have a picture. And I don't have one right now, maybe. All right, let me just do this. Copy image. Okay, and if you had a picture and you wanted to double-click underneath it, you can then, click underneath and caption it or whatever. But again, you are not limited to starting at the beginning of a line or hitting the enter space and so forth. You can, once you're on a document, you can click anywhere and type anywhere you want. Raj, I'm out of clues. I hope, maybe those will help you out a little bit. I'm out of clues for tonight, and I think we're getting close to that magic hour. Just want to, remind everybody that, again, that you're going to be getting a little thank you from us in an hour, and please do the survey inside. That helps us out. We will, we go over that. If you have any questions, please put them in there. We'll be responding to a couple that we got. Raj was telling me before we began, there was one that we're going to be responding to that somebody put in last week. So, yeah, we'll try to get back to you on that if you have any questions, or you can email us at any time.
Yeah, maybe we'll do our greatest hits from the year.
I think it would be our greatest hit.
Near miss. Our greatest
something, yeah. Anyhow, well, I hope you picked up a little something tonight. And next week, I'll save what I had in my what's going to do for next week, and we'll be advertising that during the week. So we're glad you joined us. We hope you'll join us again next week, and we hope you have a great week. And it's getting closer and closer to that to the vacation.
Yeah, so. Tough couple of weeks. Kids get so anxious leading up to Christmas, and the way it's working out this week, 2 full weeks of school left, so I'm sure there'll be lots of holiday assemblies and excitement in the classes, and maybe we can find a way to, just make those a little more fun for the kids with using some of these tools. And,
and again, if you joined us late, let me just real quickly here, if you go to the page where we post the videos on the Teacher Resource Center, I'll put these 2 links here. Google. These are Google pages, santatracker.google.com. I think if you did that, you would get to this page. There are 2 pages with activities mostly aimed at the elementary, I have to admit. But there's some good stuff there, and there's some coding.
The one I started off with, Gene, and I never got back to it, was that the Office Depot Elf Yourself.
Oh yes,
yeah. My granddaughters had.
That has become a classic.
Yeah.
And so if again, we'll see. I'll try to remember to put that up too. So the kids like that and so forth. So with that, we'll say thank you. Have a great week, and hope to see you next week.
Yes. Good night, everybody.